Well, we're joined now by the ABC's correspondent Philip Williams, who's in a hotel in Cairo and has been reporting on the events of the past week. Phil, we've heard reports of a large crowd gathering in the square. What sort of numbers are we talking about?
Well, certainly tens of thousands, if not more. They've been pouring into the square for the last few hours now. You can see behind me the mosques that are emptying out after Friday prayers. Perhaps you can also see some of the people pouring over the bridges. At times, the queues to get through security have been hundreds of metres long. So, if this was, if the violence of the last couple of days was supposed to intimidate these people, supposed to stop this protest, it's failed miserably. These people are as more determined as ever, and they're still flowing in. So, this is going to be a very, very big day of protest here.
And any sign, Phil, of the the pro-Mubarak supporters?
No sign at all, and that's a very big difference. I guess the big fear had been that they would confront these people and that would have yet another day of violence, and they have melted away. The other big difference here is that the military presence is bigger and is better organised, and it appears to be aimed at controlling the violence a little better and keeping better order. Before, they simply stood by and watched it happen, basically. Now they seem to be in bigger numbers and better organised. The theory from the Vice President that he didn't know about what was the violence was happening and the last few days and could do nothing to stop it. Well, that's quite an odd thing, given that today they seem to have mobilised the army in sufficient numbers to stop any violence. So clearly a bit of a gap there between what he said and what we see here today. In terms of the sense on the street, a great sense of excitement, of anger still, and still a high element of fear amongst all the population here. But I guess the word that really comes to mind is determined that this is the day Mubarak resigns. Looking at his record over the last week or so, you'd have to say that would be wishful thinking. But that's not going to stop these people continuing their push.
Phil, take us through a little bit more about what the army is doing, because, of course, as you said, they've been on the sidelines to date, and everyone says they're key. When you say they're more organised, there's a bigger presence, are they actually checking people's credentials? Are they actually actively getting involved?
Well, yes, they are. They are actively checking credentials. It's just a presence, more of a presence. They seem to be better organised. They seem to be perhaps more an elite force than the ones we've seen the last few days. Really, before, they were simply spectators to a riot and not able or not willing to intervene at all. Now they appear to be asserting their control. This is something they could have done a few days ago had the army wanted that. You can only assume that they, for whatever reason, decided not to intervene in that violence, because they certainly could have driven those forces apart, not beyond their capabilities at all. But today, it does seem that they are determined that they are going to allow a very, very large and hopefully very, very peaceful demonstration. And certainly, as word spreads that there is no violence, those that would have been afraid, particularly those younger people, before we saw people bring their children, those people, had the violence continued, wouldn't have come, and we'll probably see more of those as well now. So we're expecting a very, very large crowd by the end of the day.
Phil Williams in Cairo, many thanks for joining us.